It's precisely 6:15. This is the news on Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News is edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe and read by Sabrina Zawahir. First, the headlines. Director General of Health Services Dr. Asela Gunawardena emphasizes that there is no shortage of oxygen needed by corona patients. Minister Kehele Rambukwala says that the government has taken maximum measures to control the spread of coronavirus. Government decides to close all schools and tuition classes until Friday. Cabinet approval granted to ban all face coverings. The Urban Development Authority takes over the Kollupitiya supermarket. And in world news, India's new COVID-19 cases stay above 300,000. And in sports, Formula 1, sprint races to be introduced to set grid in 2021. Now the local news in detail. Director General of Health Services Dr. Asela Gunawardena has emphasized that there is no shortage of oxygen needed by corona patients. He has rejected a news report published in a newspaper stating that there is a shortage of oxygen for corona patients at the Kalubovila Hospital. He said that there is no such shortage of oxygen at hospitals. Dr. Gunawardena said that there is no reduction of oxygen supplied by the companies and they are capable of supplying even more. He further said that he would hold discussions tomorrow morning with those companies to further streamline supplying of oxygen to hospitals. Minister Kehele Rambukwala says that the government has taken maximum measures to control the spread of coronavirus. During the cabinet press briefing in Colombo today, the minister said that all measures have been taken to control the third corona wave in the country without declaring an emergency. He said that the government is always trying to control the spread of the virus. However, he said the government has to introduce strict regulations within next 48 hours if the people do not perform their duties. Replying to a journalist, Minister Rambukwala rejected charges that Indian nationals are not undergoing quarantine after arriving in the country. The minister said that a national debt protection institution will be set up to encourage and support small and medium-scale entrepreneurs. It will function under the Ministry of Finance. Plans have been drawn up to further strengthen the process of mediation boards. A separate mediation board is expected to be established to solve problems related to lands, finance, family problems of immigrant workers, and local government institutions. Minister Kehele Rambukwala says the government has decided to close all schools and tuition classes across the island until Friday. The decision has been taken during the cabinet meeting held today. Minister Rambukwala said that all other educational institutions also should take measures to remain closed until Friday. Minister of Education Professor G.L. Piris said that all preschools and pirivens will also be closed until Friday. Minister of Public Security Dr. Sarath Weerasekara said cabinet approval was granted to ban all face coverings. He said that the decision will be implemented as a law after parliamentary approval is obtained. The cabinet approval has been granted according to the public bill on prohibition on covering the full face in public places. Minister Weerasekara said there will be no prohibition to wear face masks to prevent the COVID-19 virus. He said the move came nearly 2 years after a wave of coordinated attacks on hotels and churches on Easter Sunday. The Urban Development Authority has taken over the Kollupitiya supermarket from the Colombo Municipal Council through an extraordinary gazette notice signed by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. Kollupitiya supermarket is to be demolished to construct a new multi-story building. A 39-storied building will be constructed to replace the old market and will consist of trade stalls and apartments. The first and second floors of the new building will consist of trade stalls. The 8th to the 30th floors of the building will consist of luxury apartments. Prime Minister Rajapaksa has introduced officials to ensure normal traders can sell their produce in the new market. The District Secretary of Jaffna, Gnanathapille Mahesan, said that no decision has been taken to lock down the district. Since October of last year, 1,201 cases of COVID-19 virus have been identified in Jaffna. 708 have fully recovered and returned to their homes. 19 people have died due to COVID-19 infection. As of yesterday, 3,416 people from 1,253 families are on self-quarantine. District Secretary Gnanathapille Mahesan mentioned that at a press conference held at the Jaffna District Secretariat today. Meanwhile, the police and the military are conducting operations to strictly enforce quarantine regulations in key areas, including the city of Jaffna. This news is brought to you by Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing local news, the Director of Northern Provincial Health Services, Dr. Arumugam Keetheswaran, said that 15 people have been newly diagnosed with the COVID-19 virus in the Northern Province. 13 have been identified in Jaffna and 2 in Mannar districts. They have been identified in 249 PCR tests conducted at the Jaffna Teaching Hospital yesterday. In Batticaloa District, Secretary Gnanathapille Karunakaran said that 9 people have been identified as COVID-19 patients in the 24 hours ended last evening. The Batticaloa District Secretary emphasized that people should go out of their homes only for essential needs. The Rural Bridges project is now being implemented in 25 districts, making reality a pledge given by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's Vistas of Prosperity manifesto. A progress review meeting of the project was held today at the State Ministry of Rural Roads and Infrastructure under the patronage of State Minister Nimal Lansa. 5,000 rural bridges are scheduled to be built within next 4 years, and 1,000 of them are to be completed this year. Sri Lanka Freedom Party is preparing to submit a series of demands related to the trade unions to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Trade unions affiliated to Sri Lanka Freedom Party trade unions have prepared the series of proposals which include shortcomings, problems and weaknesses in the trade union sector. General Secretary of the SLFP, State Minister Dayasiri Jayasekara, said today that the proposals would be presented to the President in connection with the May Day, which falls on Saturday. Replying to a question by a journalist on Port City, the State Minister said it is a current need to expand investment opportunities in the country. He said that there is no problem if the sovereignty of the country is not harmed. The State Minister said it is a normal occurrence for some countries and parties to oppose when the country becomes stronger with increased investments. Veteran journalist Sudeva Hettiarachchi has been appointed as the new Director General of the President's Media Division. He received his letter of appointment from President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat and is expected to officially assume duties in the coming week. With over 25 years of experience in the media field, Mr. Hettiarachchi has served in various capacities at several media organizations in the country. With that, we conclude the local news. The main news story follows.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmaya.
The Epidemiology Unit of the Health Ministry says that another 279 corona patients have recovered from coronavirus and discharged from hospitals within the past 24 hours. This brings the total number of COVID-19 recoveries in Sri Lanka to 94,856. A total of 102,376 confirmed cases of COVID-19 have been reported in the country thus far, while 6,873 of them are currently under treatment for the virus. The death toll due to the virus pandemic currently stands at 647. That was our main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sidhalepa Vedamahatmaya.
In Watchlight, State Minister of Production, Supply and Regulation of Pharmaceuticals, Professor Channa Jayasumana, said the second dose of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine will be given from tomorrow. Accordingly, the health sector employees who are the frontline workers are expected to first receive the AstraZeneca vaccine's second jab. That came to you in Watchlight. A bulletin of world news follows.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
the best discount in this Urdu season, People's Leasing Polywasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Urdu season. Call 011-206-300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
The headlines of the world news. India's new COVID-19 cases stay above 300,000. Turkey announces full lockdown to curb COVID spread. Fighting erupts in Myanmar. Now the world news in detail. Vital medical supplies poured into India today as hospitals starved of oxygen supplies and beds turned away coronavirus patients, while a surge in infections pushed the death toll towards 200,000. Supplies from Britain, including 100 ventilators and 95 oxygen concentrators, arrived in Delhi. France is sending oxygen generators able to provide 250 patients with a year's supply of the gas. China said it was trying to get medical supplies to its neighbor. President Tayyip Erdogan announced that Turks will be required to stay mostly at home under a nationwide full lockdown starting on Thursday and lasting until May 17th to curb a surge in coronavirus infections and deaths. Turkey logged 37,312 new COVID-19 infections and 353 deaths in the last 24 hours. Health Ministry data showed sharply down from mid-April, but still the world's fourth highest number of cases. Fighting erupted in eastern Myanmar near the Thai border today as ethnic minority Karen insurgents attacked an army outpost in some of the most intense clashes since the coup plunged Myanmar into crisis. The clash came as the junta, in an apparent setback for an attempt by the Association of Southeast Asian Nations to end Myanmar's turmoil, said it would positively consider the bloc's suggestions made at a weekend meeting in Indonesia. With that, we conclude the world news. Prior to concluding the headlines of the world news once again, India's new COVID-19 cases stay above 300,000. Turkey announces full lockdown to curb COVID spread. Fighting erupts in Myanmar. With that, we conclude the world news. The development news follows.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
the best discount in this Urdu season, People's Leasing Polywasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Urdu season. Call 011-206-300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
In development news, South Asian region's most modern and largest international yacht marina of the Colombo port city has been completed. The first project to be completed under the Port City Colombo landscape, it will attract over $500 million in the next 3 years. The yacht marina, when fully operational, will be on a 44-acre land, and it will have the facility to anchor 200 yachts, making it one of the largest such venues in the region. The area will have an yacht repairing facility, duty-free terminal, customs and facilities for several other maritime-related businesses. That was development news. Next up is the sports news. Taking a look at the sports news, firstly it's volleyball. Joseph Vaz SC Venapur and Navy SC emerged men's and women's champions at the inaugural Under-25 Galaxy Trophy Volleyball Championship played at the National Youth Services Centre Indoor Stadium in Maharagama. Joseph Vaz SC, led by Avindu Pabasara, defeated Ceylon Electricity Board 3-2 in the men's final, while Navy SC, led by Kavisha Lakshani, defeated Hyderamanis SC 3-1 in the women's final. Taking a look at Formula One, shorter sprint races will be introduced to Formula One this year to set the grid positions at 3 Grand Prix. Positions will be awarded to the top 3 finishers, 3 for first, 2 for second and 1 for third. Grid positions for the shorter race, to be called sprint qualifying, will be set by moving qualifying to Friday. Avoiding calling the event as a race is to ensure that the Grand Prix remains the main focus of the weekend. It will be the first time in history that the Grand Prix is not the only race on an F1 World Championship weekend. Taking a look at gymnastics, British-Jamaican gymnast Janucia Francis says the full-body suit worn by German athletes could open the door for more women in the sport. Sarah Voss was the first competitor to wear the suit at the European Gymnastic Championship last week and was followed by 2 teammates. Francis told media that the suits, which cover the athletes' legs to the ankle, give the power of choice back to the athletes. That was the sports news. Next up is the business news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Lima Creations, an innovative and a leading interior solution provider in Sri Lanka, has won the Extra Large Category Manufacturing Sector Merit Award for Extra Large Category at the recently held the Ceylon National Chamber of Industries Awards ceremony. The award was bestowed on the evaluation criteria such as turnover, value addition, productivity, quality of products, health and safety. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
According to Department of Census and Statistics Sri Lanka Labour Force Survey 4th quarter 2020, the estimated economically active population is about 8.5 million in the 4th quarter. Out of that number, 63.3% are males and 33.7% are females. The economically inactive population is about 8.4 million. Out of the economically inactive population, 27.3% are males and 72.7% are females. That was Economic News.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
Finally, it's a look at the weather report. The Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in central, Sabaragamuwa, southern, Uva and north central and eastern provinces and in Mullaitivu district during the evening or night. Showers may occur in western and southern coastal areas during the morning. Fairly heavy rainfalls above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in Sabaragamuwa, Uva and central provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. That was the weather report. Prior to concluding this bulletin of news, the headlines once again. Director General of Health Services, Dr. Asela Gunawardana, emphasizes that there is no shortage of oxygen needed by corona patients. Minister Kehele Rambukwala says that the government has taken maximum measures to control the spread of coronavirus. Government decides to close all schools and tuition classes until Friday. Cabinet approval granted to ban all face coverings. The Urban Development Authority takes over the Kollupitiya supermarket.